reach into these realities, you've got to cross through the veils of light and the concepts of false enlightenment, the concepts of false light. I'm not saying false light because Rahma is not false, but it's false compared to the reality. So we say in Sufism, the elevation of the normal people, meaning to experience compassion, is the sin of the one who reaches God. The one who reaches God, stopping with what somebody else considers ascension, for us is a sin because you've stopped with the limitation rather than crossing into the eternal. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So in Sufism, we don't want to stop astaghfirullah, with anything other than the reality of God itself, period. And when we say you are a slave of God, it means you've crossed through the barzakh into the presence of the divine light itself, that pure white light. You're witnessing it at all times. You are at the subject of its will. You've given up your personal will to follow divine will. That's why you're called a divine slave. What's a slave? A slave has no will. Because the will of a slave is somebody whose will has been taken. Taken by somebody with a whip, you're an oppressed slave. But voluntarily surrendering your will so that you can be following God's will, we consider to be the highest form of willlessness or divine slavery, or ultimately reaching true states of unity and hakika. Okay? So, what do we have to do? We have to cross through these levels. Now, what we're going to do for teaching is I'm going to read to you Siddhi's reading about veils of light. We're going to go over it in context of this, and then, inshallah, we're going to actually practice it. We're going to learn how to do it. Okay, and again, this is not a one-time fix. In other words, you do it today and you go home, it is not going to be the answer. You've got to do it and do it and do it. You've got to make it part of your life. It's a never-ending journey of your ability and willingness to heal the deepest parts of yourself and to face the deepest parts of yourself. And as a healer, I can be honest with you, I worked for 20 years, I've been in healing 35 years now. And I would say up until 10 years ago, maybe 2007, I did not have a lot of success healing cancer. And the reason really was because I was not able to witness or to reach the soul barzakh images where cancer stems from. And I was working out here with these images, but these images here generally will not heal cancer. If you want to heal cancer, you've got to get up here. Any disease which has the potentiality to kill you is a soul disease. Okay? Because it's going to take your soul, right? Your soul's going to leave the body. So if the soul's going to leave the body, it has to deal with images that are connected to the soul, which makes them Jabarut images. So if you want to heal at that level, you can work in the heart, deal with the emotions, emotional healing, deal with all those images, but it's not enough. If you want to really heal, you have to get to these deep soul quality images. That's the secret. In my opinion, that's the secret of healing.
Could I just clarify, you
Yes.
said those are likely to be injuries before 3. I want
Yes.
to try.
Yeah, the soul ones are almost always from before 3. But my personal experience, I don't know if I've ever seen a soul issue post 7. I mean, they're almost always from before 7, and 90% of them from before 3. So they're very early woundings that have happened with people. Like for me, I have 5 kids. I have watched my children very closely. And any time I saw the soul, this level here, darkening up with, these images of destruction, if you will, I was on top of it immediately. I mean, I was working in the nights to get that out of them before they were damaged. I worked very hard those first 7 years with my kids to keep their souls clean. And I remember one time when somebody I knew who was actually had reached enlightenment, and he came to me, he said, I have to tell you, I've seen so few children that are not damaged, and your kids are one of the few that I've seen that have not been damaged. And it was one of the nicest moments for me, because it was like an acknowledgement of all the work I had put into keeping them safe. So for those of you who are parents, if you haven't been really watching and protecting your children at a very deep level, at this level, potentially the diseases and the things that lead to drug addiction and all those type of things come in, and then you have to deal with that. So it's not that you may not, I mean, anything can happen anytime, but if you give them a good start, you really work hard to protect their heart and protect their soul, you're really being the right parent. You've not only protected them and given them an education and given them ethics and morality, which you're supposed to do, but you've also protected their hearts, you've kept it clean. You protected their souls, you've kept it clean. You have really done the right thing. And this is Sufis who are going to teach you that. Yes?
And when you've noticed some, I guess, darkness, what kind of things would you do? What kind of things would you do? The vicar or?
Yeah, you would do purification work using the Vicar of the names. And again, we'll practice that in a little bit so you can learn it, okay? I mean, it sounds like you more or less know it anyways, but we'll work with that. Okay. Okay, any questions about this before we go into the reading? Yes.
So based on what you've told us this morning, would you say that you feel it is God's will that each soul lives in a state of ecstasy?
I don't know if it's God's will. I think that we all have the potential to reach that state.
I understand that, but I'm trying to get to, that would be a very unusual thing to stay in a specific state eternally. And it doesn't particularly sound appealing, actually, even though it may be awesome. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just, so I'm thinking, well, is that God's will that we attain that state at whenever we're willing, I guess?
Yeah. See, can I dissect what you're saying?
Yes, you can.
All right, but don't kill the messenger,
No,
okay?
believe me, I won't.
All right. See,
That would be a sin.
Good answer. All right, especially for me, that I don't know what you kill. All right, so my statement to you would be that when you said that ecstasy is not appealing particularly, what that really tells me that in the place of your soul where ecstasy exists, you have a veil.
Yes.
So when you look through that veil at ecstasy, what you see is somehow pain.
Well, I can appreciate that, but the caveat I put on that was that state eternally. Never to experience sadness. Never to experience, I just don't know. It seems so static, even if it's awesome. It's a little unbalanced,
That's actually very beautiful what you're saying. I don't think in all the lectures where I've given this, anybody's ever made that statement before. So alhamdulillah, that's actually a wonderful concept you're carrying, actually. I like that. So maybe I need to redefine it a little bit. The experience of ecstasy does not mean that you don't have emotions.
Okay.
You have emotions, you have a sadness, but in the sadness, you're ecstatic.
Okay.
In other words, you have sadness, but your sadness is actually something that's so alive and so rich and so deep that actually it's not the experience of pain, it's the experience of joy.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
Yes.
Does that relate to what you were talking about yesterday with the gathering, where you can kind of hold the evil or the sadness and the anger
Yes.
and the good at the same time? And you're seeing the truth through all of this.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You have to see the truth for all of it. So if Allah puts evil in front of you, why did Allah put evil in front of you? You know, you could say, there's all ways of looking at that, but the way that we like you to look at it is it's a trial. In other words, if Allah put evil in front of you, for example, I live today, we have a piece of land out in the middle of nowhere, out in Napa Valley. And I mean that, we have maybe 3 houses within, you know, a couple miles of us, and then if you go another ring of 5 miles, we have a small subdivision, and then you have literally maybe 20 miles in all directions where there's nothing. But unfortunately for us, when we bought the house, we didn't realize that we're on the major drug road out of Lake County. So Lake County is where all the meth is made and where all the marijuana is grown in California. And it all goes right through our property on the way to San Francisco to get delivered. So we have tended to be a stopping place where people who are on meth and they're in their high experience, they like to stop off on our property and for whatever reason. But if you know about meth, you know meth is a very aggressive drug. People on meth, I mean, they will kill you when they're in their states. So we're sitting out there now and having to deal with this consistent issues of things like this going for our property. And I remember when I bought this house, I prayed about it. Allah said, it's not going to be easy, but you can have it, it'll make you strong. And I was thinking, you know, it's going to be strong because I'll be out here in the middle of nowhere being alone. I didn't realize what he was really saying. It's going to be strong because you're going to be dealing with people with meth coming through your property. You know, I should have taken it a little step further. I wouldn't have bought the place. But so here we are. But you know, so being out there has actually you know, I've been there for 3 years now. And every night when I go to bed with the knowledge that tonight somebody may be knocking at my door on meth with a gun that wants to come in my house. And that has led to a certain level of stress. But as time has gone on, it's also strengthened me more than anything I could have ever imagined. It has, more than anything I've done in my life, that has strengthened me because every night I have to be ready for somebody who might come into my house and try to hurt my family. So it has created much more strength in my being. So you could say that's evil, this meth and this type of relationship, but the trial of it is to have the courage and the strength to be able to face what shows up at the door.
So is this tie into the protection and being, how do you keep your heart open? Because as Sufis, we're supposed to keep our hearts open, but yet take care of yourself.
Well, keeping your heart open doesn't mean inviting Shaitan into your living room,
Yeah, okay.
right? You keep evil out.
Yeah.
So keeping your heart open means keeping your heart open to good, to God, and it's being compassionate with evil, but it's setting strong boundaries. So if Shaitan shows up in the form of a meth dealer, or Shaitan shows up in the form of somebody trying to hurt you, you have to get them out of your field. You know, people like yourself who are energy sensitive, you're conscious of, you know, when you shut down, like you're not energy sensitive, you create a cocoon of protection around your being. So not a lot gets into it. So people who are non-energy sensitive, they don't feel so much, they don't have to deal with what you have to deal with. But somebody like yourself who is very open, when things come at you, you can be shocked because all of a sudden this thing's hitting you out of nowhere. You didn't do anything, and you're struggling with it because you feel it. But to learn to keep that out of your field. And the way you do that is with the name of Allah. That Allah's name can keep any shaitan out. Because the shaitan don't like it. So when you put Allah's name in front of shaitan, shaitan runs away. Scream. Okay? You have to practice it. But the only way you're going to practice it is through awareness of when it happens. You have to be aware of when it's coming in, put the name, push it out.
But it's not just the name, it's like a feeling of the name.
Yeah, it's the name, it's the light of the name, it's the whole reality of the name. You know, it's like all of a sudden you're feeling bad, right? If you closed your eyes and you really looked inside, you'd say, oh, I feel there's this black stuff coming into my solar plexus that I don't like. and I feel uncomfortable with it. But once you start to be aware of that blackness, you take the name of Allah, and you the light of Allah, and you put it right between that blackness, the blackness will start to back off. Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, he was struggling, there's a story about this, he was struggling with, at one point, they thought he was losing his mind. He stopped being able to think, he stopped being able to remember, he started like falling down. They didn't know what was happening to him, and he didn't know what was happening to himself. And then 2 angels came to him, and while he was sleeping, and he had a vision, and they showed him that they were practicing black magic on him. And the angels showed him that what they had done is they had gotten hold of a comb with his hair. And then they had taken the hair and they were using it in some type of black magic rituals. And that's what was happening to him. He was essentially what you call it when you have it put on you. They really knew it. So this is what was happening to him. So they showed him where in the dream, he saw that the comb was in a well in Mecca. So he got some of the companions and they went to the well. And in the hadith it says he got to the well. He said this was like a place of pure evil. He said the well was surrounded with bushes that looked like devils. And the whole, you've seen places like this, I'm sure. Like in Wichita, there must be many. You've seen places like that, right? Okay, so he went down and he climbed in the well and he pulled out the stone and there was the comb. And then he took it and destroyed it and it all stopped. But at that time, that's when the cool sort of nas and sort of falaf were brought in. They descended. And in that moment, from that time forward, he said that from then forward, he always used those surahs for protection. You know, and he stopped doing other things. So I agree with that 100%, but personally I like to take it one step further, which I think he did too. I'm not saying I'm doing anything that he didn't do. But if you have black magic coming at you, there is a place inside yourself that's vulnerable to it, meaning there's a weakness in you. So do the surahs to protect you, but go inside yourself and see where you're weak and learn to strengthen that place.
Like with Mateen.
With my team, for example. Yeah. Okay. Okay, any more questions before we go into the reading? Yes.
Hello, I really appreciate the teaching on the veils of light.
Yes.
I've been working with the wazifa, make me contented with you and you contented with me.
Yes.
And I feel like that teaching about the veils of light is around that wazifa teaching for me.
Okay. I can see where that would fit for you, yes. Did you want to say something about that?
Any help with kind of untangling that?
Yes, okay. Good question. Make you contented with me is the station of Al-Radia. I'm sorry, make me contented with you is the station of Al-Radia. Make you contented with me is the station of Al-Mardia. You know those two stations? Al-Mardia is the 6th station, and Al-Radia is the 5th station. The 5th station is station of Baka, 6th station of Baka Billah. So what he's really saying in the wazifa is give me Baka, Baka Billah, give me subsistence in your qualities, which is Baka, and give me subsistence in your knowledge, which is Baka Billah. Okay, so that's what those two stations mean. So having contentment with Allah means allow me to accept your qualities and be content with them without struggling with them, without choosing complacency, without choosing to stop. Let me accept and fully embody the nature of your qualities in myself. And that is what that statement means. It does not mean be content and stop with the quality and don't go to Allah. The person in Baka has gone to Allah, they've let go of the qualities, they have fana'd, fana into Allah, fana fi Allah, they fana'd into Allah, they've annihilated into God. But now they're saying, now that I've annihilated into your essence, into your reality, into witnessing your reality, let me begin to experience the presence of your qualities and be happy with them. Because you still exist within your human qualities. And that's the piece you have to untangle right there. That making sense? Yeah. Did I answer it for you?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so how are we doing for time? Do we need to